This episode is all about Donald Trump, and hold on to your seat. Today is Budget Day in Trinidad and Tobago. And welcome back, folks, to episode number 14 of Viewpoint, the Brian Heeraman podcast. To all my old listeners, I think everyone knows the drill by now. To my new listeners, thanks for joining us and hope you continue to join us. And just to clear up everything before we move forward, this podcast is available on all major podcasting platforms, including Google Podcasts, iTunes, YouTube, Twitter, and Spotify as well. So, I hope you all continue to like, subscribe, and share this podcast with members of your family as well. Have them have a listen to what's going on, get any facts before they come to any conclusion. So, the opening music was from Michael Giacchino. How about if you guys could provide me with some feedback? Let me know what you think of this one. There are others. There's so many others work he has done, and not just him, but others as well. But I quite admire the piano. I have played the piano at some part of my life, and so I know a bit about it. So I'm thinking about a musical sort of opening. So let me have your feedback and your suggestions on what you think I can include. Now, if you all think 2020 couldn't get any crazier, well, hold on to your seats. And I mean literally hold on to your seats. Because I am recording this podcast right now and the room just started to shake. Like really shake. There's a 5.2 earthquake that took place and I just literally left everything. So I had to come back and start all over again. It is crazy. 2020, I don't know. This world is out of sync. It's out of equilibrium. Something is going on. I don't know what it is. They said 2012 was going to be the end with the Mayan calendar. Maybe it's 2020. Everything is happening. Everything is happening at the same time. I mean, it's crazy what's going on in this place. Now, just so much we can talk about with what's going on. I mean, we can talk about the Boy Scouts led by their Scoutmaster Gary Griffith. I mean, they're not a police service. I don't consider them a police service anymore. When I look at their behavior and their attitude, I mean, a police service is something about that believes in a level of fairness and integrity that doesn't exist anymore from all what we can say video shoots that we've been seeing coming out. That doesn't exist anymore. I mean, you can have the commissioner of police say going on vacation, and then the very next day he could come back and say that he cancels vacation because he's concerned about some issue. They all think that we are a bunch of idiots in Trinidad and Tobago, that we don't know what's going on, and their continued manner in which they've been pushing these crazy scenarios, they don't care. They're going to continue doing it, and regardless of the outcomes, because as far as they're concerned, the population of Trinidad and Tobago is just going to remain quiet and allow it to happen. But that's just how it is. But I want to dedicate this podcast to um, this whole situation with regards to Donald Trump and First Lady Melania Trump being infected with COVID-19. First of all, I want to set out I am praying that the first family is going to recover from this virus and make a speedy recovery and continue to perform in their duties that they've been so um, proudly been doing since the election in November 2016. It's by now you guys should have guessed that I am pretty much a supporter of Donald Trump. I think he's been the most productive and effective president that the United States would have seen. I think his local policy, but I primarily support him because of his foreign policy. I think his foreign policy has returned a level of stability and civility to the world. There are a lot of nations out there that don't really care one way or the other about smaller countries, but Donald Trump presidency has shown us how he has led those nations who are part of the so-called George W. Bush axis of evil he has let them know in no uncertain term that there is one president who's going to carry on with the FDR approach and not be afraid to use the big stick. And if there's one presidency that those leaders who have no thought for smaller countries, disadvantaged countries, Trump presidency has let them know that he will use the big stick without any without any fear. And I think that has let nations know that how they need to operate within the framework of a democracy. That is something that I respect with Donald Trump. I respect his ability to go into Washington, D.C. and shake up what he called the swamp, let them know that how the days of horse trading and making deals doesn't exist. He has a way of he's bringing what he thinks needs to be done. He's going out there and he's selling that to the people like a true leader, because that's what leaders should do. Bring forward their ideas, sell it to the people, have it implemented. Don't try to implement your ideas through some backdoor channels. No, let the people know exactly what you're up to. And that is what a Trump presidency has been doing. But since Trump diagnosis, since the first family diagnosis with COVID-19, I have been paying attention to what's been going on with regards to people comments and how they've been wishing the first family, they've been wishing Donald Trump he dies from COVID-19. They hope this is payback, this is some form of retribution for things that he would have done in the past. First of all, as John Donne would have said some time ago, the death of anybody diminishes me because I am a part of mankind. And I support that argument, that statement fully, because I don't wish death upon anybody. When Cedric Burkey would have passed away, I was sorry for his family, regardless of what his allegations and his accusation was against him. I understand that growing up without a father is a very trying experience, and I don't wish that upon anybody. I don't wish death upon anybody, and especially the President of the United States. So when I read comments about from blue checker people, and blue checker people obviously being Democrat people, I think there's something clinically wrong with him. I think it's evil, it's demented, and it's a level of what Charles Krauthammer would call Trump derangement syndrome, because Donald Trump would recover with God grace, his wife would recover with God grace, and they would pull through from this deadly virus. But that level of dementia and evil that some people suffer it, that's going to take a lot more work than Donald Trump needs to do to come out of his virus. And good luck to those people who think like that. With that level of thinking, there is no progress to be made with those individuals because they have to find comfort within themselves first before they can have a rational debate. Because the whole idea of blaming somebody for getting infected with a virus that nobody wants to be infected with is sick. There's no retribution for this. No, when someone is infected with this virus, the level of trauma, the level of I don't know, what goes through the family, it's crazy. And for someone to even believe that this is some sort of retribution, or this is they look for this virus, and no, nobody out there knows, God forbidden, when this virus may very well come knocking at your door. What you don't want for yourself, never wish it upon anybody else. There's still a lot that we're learning about this virus in terms of how it's being spread. You may very well think that sanitizing and wearing a mask is 100% and it's going to prevent you from getting this virus. But like I said, we are still learning a lot about this virus. You don't know how this may come towards you, and I hope it comes to nobody. But I also, with the same breath, I also hope that nobody out there is engaging in this evil thought about wishing Donald Trump dies from this disease, because it's not right. Having said that, I want to move on to our next crazy scenario from this whole Donald Trump Joe Biden. Did you all watch the debate? Like I said, everything is happening in 2020. I mean, nobody would have even thought that Donald Trump would have been effective with COVID-19, but the, the Joe Biden Donald Trump debate, unbelievable. I mean, when you look at that debate, Donald Trump dominated that debate. The Joe Biden was not given an opportunity to respond. I agree with, but in the bigger picture, when you're negotiating with someone like Putin or Xi Jinping from China, you don't ask for opportunities to respond. You have to show your strength. You have to grab your opportunity to respond. Just like how Donald Trump dominated the debate and Joe Biden was like non-existent. Joe Biden here to demonstrate to the American people, to the world, that how he was strong enough, capable enough to take on and to make tough decisions and to make tough stands. And he wasn't able to demonstrate that on that night. That night was totally dominated by Donald Trump. Donald Trump even went as far as to tell Joe Biden that he has done more in 47 months than Joe Biden did in 47 years. When you look at that, you can ask yourself, name one policy, name one thing that Joe Biden would have done in his 47 years in politics, whether it be in the Senate or it be in the vice presidency. Name one thing that he would have done. And you won't be able to. But ask yourself the same question. Name one thing that Donald Trump would have done. And you are sure you would be able to find something that Donald Trump would have done. You may not agree with what you would have been able to think of. But the fact is, Donald Trump was able to do that within his presidency. And that is the difference. Because Joe Biden, from that debate, he didn't show strength. He didn't show the ability to command respect from world leaders. And in my mind, that was scary. Because you are going up for the office of President of the United States, the leader of the free world, but yet you're weak. So that, I mean, if you cannot demonstrate your ability to debate, then how do you expect people to trust you to lead negotiations with deranged people at some point in time? I mean, it's mind-boggling to even look at that debate, even see what was taking place, and there is going to be two more debates between Joe Biden and Donald Trump, and I expect Trump to come out there strong again and attempt to control the debate because that's who he is. Trump is sort of a gladiator bloodhound, It's like because that's where he grew up from, He grew up in New York City's battling with these trade unions and attempt to get the right real estate market and to get the right real estate deals done to build those buildings. Real estate in New York City is not easy. It's by no means easy. And Trump coming from that, he has that insight. He has that ability to go out there and to fight. It's like it's like dogs fighting, and that's what Trump is, and that's what he knows, that's what he best. You can't pelt no mud at Donald Trump and expect it to stick because no matter how much it sticks on Donald Trump, he has an ability to keep fighting. And it's that fighting ability. I think that fighting ability is what is getting the American people to draw closer to him because they're tired of the pretty talk and all the fanciness to try and convince them that what other leaders are doing is correct. No more. They're tired of that. What they want now is real action. They want to see they want to see results. It's like how Donald Trump is getting the stock market to boom again. That's what they want to see. They want to see the economy turning. They want to see COVID-19 coming around the corner. Not just like how Trinidadians watch and we see these numbers growing up. What is it now? 4,080 COVID-19 related cases and what, 81 deaths? No. They want to see the economy open back. They want to see business continuing. And that is what Donald Trump is able to show the American people. So I want to continue with this crazy year 2020, but I want to focus now on the Trinidad and Tobago budget. So as I mentioned, by the time you all are listening to this podcast, it would be budget day in Trinidad and Tobago. And if you think the earthquake was shaky, get ready because after this budget, your life is going to be shaken to the point where you're not going to need an earthquake to, to shake you up anymore because this budget is definitely going to shake you up. But if I can have one wish in this 2020 budget, it would simply be that the government find the necessary funding to provide kids with electronic devices to assist them in continuing their education. Because I think it's very important that the future generations are prepared with education to continue learning. Too many kids out there, I've heard the numbers, that don't have access to electronic devices, and I think we need to ensure that what the policy was from the previous administration, that is a previous UNC administration, whereby they provide laptops for all kids, that is continued and that is updated. I mean, it may not necessarily be laptops because everybody is moving towards a more tablet type version. So, but whatever it is, some sort of electronic device to allow kids to do online learning. There are too many kids out there who, when the time when school time comes, they don't have electronic devices and they're basically doing absolutely nothing. So we need to find a way to cater for them. And if that is my one wish for this budget so far. But it's not the primary thing that's going to be on focus in this budget because there's so much happening. From the last budget, the deficit is going to be somewhere in the vicinity of $18 billion. And that is just the last budget. The current budget, we don't know what that deficit is going to be. We do know it's starting with a $7 billion deficit based on the minister's spotlight on the budget and economy in 2021. He basically stated that we start on a negative of $7 billion. How does the minister plan to raise all this necessary shortfall in cash? If I would suggest to him is that he should remove the subsidy on fuel, on super fuel, on diesel fuel, because more or less premium is, if you were to consider it on the market, it's premium is pretty much a little bit overpriced. But remove those fuels subsidy, and put those fuels on the market to float totally. And when I mean float, I mean whatever the prices is on the international market, that's what we should be paying. If fuel prices go down on the international market, then those fuel prices that we pay on the pump should have a corresponding decrease in fuel prices. You can't just have it one way and increase only and you're paying high prices. No. If it's floating, it's floating. You can have no managed float. Float it. You take the good and you take the bad at whenever it comes. But you can't continue to have premium fuel subsidizing super as what's currently the case right now. That's one way to raise revenue. Other than that, I mean, what are they going to do? I mean, we have so many state agencies in this country. Do we really need all of them? What are the important ones? What is necessary for the continuation of the economy what is necessary for national security? Those are the state agencies that we need to keep. And I'm not suggesting that we shut down the other state agencies. I think that they shut down the Seafood and Industries Development Company. I would never suggest that. What I would suggest to do is to find some mechanism to keep them running, but not under the government dime. Whether it be you sell those agencies to private people and let them manage, and there will be some loss of jobs, but at the end of the day, the government will have less of a headache to find revenue to keep those companies afloat. You have companies that are running huge loss, whether it be Wassa, whether it be TNTech, whether it be the port. The strange thing about it, I can't argue too much if the government decides to cut staff because we recently had a general election on August the 10th, and they've more or less stated their plans with regards to property tax revenue authority, and election has consequences of, like I've always been saying, if they campaign on those policies and they're now in office, then how can you reasonably go towards them and say that's how you're in disagreement with what they're going to do? The fact of the matter remains the majority of people voted for this. Election has consequences. This is what the majority of people wanted. And if that is the case, then the results of the election gave the government a mandate to push on, to continue with their policies as they were. So, an argument that, to try and have the opposition argue against whatever policy comes out of it. But unless those policies are so far fetched, I don't see how one can reasonably disagree with what the majority of the people voted for just a few months ago. It's not the rational thinking person would find it difficult to put forward that argument. What property tax, energy rates? I mean, if you want the energy companies to continue, probably one of the biggest things that the government needs to face is to have those contracts with the upstream gas producing um, companies renegotiated. I have no idea how they're going to facilitate something like that. Because if you sign a contract with me, don't come back by me for no renegotiation. Sorry. And any attempt by the government to just, you know, cut those contracts clean and start anew, the amount of international pressure that's going to come, you will have no company, no country coming to invest in you. So we basically stuck between a rock and a hard place. I have no idea what they're going to do, but the gas prices are so high that the downstream companies are saying that they can't afford to stay in operations and pay those high prices. It's a huge chess game that's being played with those energy companies and the government. Everybody's holding their ground. One, one side is threatening to shut down the company, mudball the plants, and go back home, create unemployment. And the next side is saying that, oh, well, this is what we're being paid. When the Prime Minister went to negotiate those contracts, it was a bad idea, and we are now feeling the full effects of that. The budget is going to come, I suspect, in this current budget they're going to announce on today, Monday, that is Monday the 5th, that we are going to be in a deficit position to the tune of some, I would expect it to be no less than $12 billion. And that's basically what they're going to read. $12 billion shortfall. It may very well be at the end of the term, that deficit is going to be much larger, but we wait to see what happens with regards to that. What the government needs to do in terms of getting revenue, I think they're going to draw down on the revenue stabilization fund again. I'm suspecting that they're going to withdraw in the vicinity of some $2 billion that will assist them with regards to some capital expenditure projects that they need to do. So that will help for some time being. I suspect that they probably preparing some sort of international monetary fund type strategy. But once we go down that road, I think the social programs are going to be cut tremendously. I am happy, however, that the Minister of Finance stated in the spotlight that there will be no reduction in salaries, there will be no standing up of public servants. I say that, however, with a pinch of salt, because I also remember that this same government started out they were not going to shut down Petrotrin. But where are we today? So, with regards to the US dollar, he also said that he made strong arguments for not floating the foreign currency. The TT dollar, or devalued it in any significant way. I don't, well, I did not hear him say that he wasn't going to do it clearly. He didn't say that clearly, but we wait to see what happens. I suspect that he wouldn't float it, but he needs to find a way to tamper the amount of foreign currency that's leaving the country. I suspect he's going to tackle the foreign used car industry. If he does go down that road, he should very well tackle the new car industry as well, because those are two major leakage of foreign currency. Whether he does it, because obviously the political supporters or the political financiers are part of the new car industry, we'll see what he decides to do. Cigarette, tobacco, typical. They're going to feel the heat as well. They're obviously going to be taxed to whatever extent, however high they think that they could go. they're going to go down that road with regards to them as well. He's going to push ahead with the revenue authority. Like I said, election has consequences. He campaigned on that, so he's gonna go ahead. And he did mention that election has that he is going down that road. Now, what is he going to do with regards to WASA and TNTAC? Is he going to give them a? Is he going to reduce his subsidy that the government pays to them, thereby allowing them to have a rate increase? Because if he does stop paying them the subsidy to some extent, then that's basically saying, you know what, he's allowing them to go ahead and request a rate increase, and that rate increase would cover the subsidy that the government would have traditionally given them. Caribbean Airlines. What is he going to do with Caribbean Airlines? He needs to have that airline survive. Um, I've recently seen that how they are launching some, they're cutting back on staff, reduction in salary. I wonder if the Minister of Finance son continues to operate in Caribbean Airlines. Was he part of that reduction in salaries or was he sent home? Nobody wants to talk about that, but it is what it is, folks. 2020 continues to be a crazy year, and I suspect we haven't seen the last of what's going to happen in 2020 in terms of the craziness that's taking place. It's about to get much more crazy, or should I say, much more insane. That's it, folks. Viewpoint, the Brian Heeraman podcast. Stay tuned for episode 15.